Welcome back to another beautiful day in the land of music. My name is Douglas, and in today's video, I have two versions of the Mini Lab controller in front of me. So, Mini Lab 2 and Mini Lab 3. Arturia was nice enough to send me the Mini Lab 2 a few months ago, and due to life getting crazy, I never actually did any videos of it or even opened it up. Both of these are brand new in the box. Then they released the Mini Lab 3, and I went out and bought this because I wanted to do a comparison between the Mini Lab 2 and the Mini Lab 3 in case you own maybe the Mini Lab 2 or you're looking to pick up the Mini Lab 3 and you're curious, is the Mini Lab 3 worth the upgrade or worth the purchase over the Mini Lab 2? So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the look and the feel of the two different controllers, what they come with, what's in the box, so you can kind of see and make decisions for yourself on which one is best for you. They've got some differences, and I'll go over those here in this video. If you're curious on how to set up and use the Mini Lab 3, make sure you're subscribed because I'm going to be doing a bunch of videos on the Mini Lab 3, as well as comparing it to the Oxygen Pro Mini, as well as the MPK Mini Plus from Akai. I'll be doing a comparison video between all three of those mini controllers. So be on the lookout for that video. Should be coming out pretty soon here. Let's open these two up. Let's talk about the differences. I'm not going to plug either of them in and use them in this video because conscious of time, I want to just go through kind of the differences from a hardware perspective and give you some knowledge so you know if you're going to go buy one of these or you already have the 2 and you want to upgrade it to the 3. Is it worth it? Let's get right into it and open this up. Let's start with the 2. So I have a knife and realize that I don't actually need it for anything. So we're just going to open this up here. I'm going to set the knife aside so I don't slice myself. And we open this box up. Let me slide this to the side here. And here is the Mini Lab 2. So it comes with the USB cable. This is more of the traditional USB cable here, not USB-C. We'll be talking about difference there. And then we'll pull the controller out here and a little goodie packet. And let's set the box aside. We've got 2 little foam pieces. And what's really cool about this is they've got these really nice wood style accents on both ends. I think this is super classy. It gives the controller a really classy look. One thing I'm noticing right away is the feel of the controller is it's heavier than, let's say, the M-Audio Oxygen Pro Mini. Has a really nice heavy feel to it, some nice rubber feet on the bottom. We set that right here on the desk. I like the keys. They feel better than some of the other mini controllers out there. They are closed front, so if we look at that, closed front keys here. They don't have as much of a click. They actually have a really nice feel for a mini keyboard. So let's talk about a couple of other things here. We have the shift button here, pad, so you can actually have 2 sets of pads, 1 through 8 and then 9 through 16. We have the pitch slider bar here and then the modulation slider. So then we also have 16 360-degree knobs right here. They're plastic feeling. There's not a lot of like drag or anything like that like you have on some more expensive controllers, but what do you expect for the price point of this? These 2 here click down, the rest of them don't, but I do love the 360 knobs here. The pads themselves are on the smaller side. Sometimes if you're trying to do like a 2-finger roll on the pad, my finger wants to slip off of these. When I plug these in a future video, I'll do a comparison between the pad feel and how it actually responds to the drum sounds. So that's it. These 2 things here and a little packet here with just some information on how to register and download sounds. So that is the Mini Lab 2. Let's see how that compares to the Mini Lab 3. I'm going to set this right up in this corner here. Let's slide the Mini Lab 3 over right away. They give you a handle. That's kind of a cool little touch, though it's not going to do much because I'm going to take it right out of the box and open this up. So set this aside. Same type of feel from the box perspective of the Mini Lab 3. I'm going to open that up. And here we go. Now there's a difference here, as you can see, with this USB cable. It is USB-C, and it's actually a 90-degree right angle connector. Nice little silver accent, platinum accent there. No foam. We've gone to a more recycled feel here. With the new Mini Lab 3, you don't get an information packet. You get a postcard with the serial number and your unlock code on it. My assumption is same with the audio interface from Arturia, is that when you plug it into the computer, it's going to open up and give you some setup instructions. I'll go through that in a separate video because I want to actually walk you step by step through how to set this up and use this. Being that this is the newer controller, I want to put some time into, these feel much better. I want to take the time to walk you step by step through the setup process, especially seeing as this may be a really good option if you're just getting into making music with the computer, just trying to get started. And this might be a really good option for you because as you can see, you have a little bit of a different setup here. So let's go through this and then let's compare the two. So here we have the shift button, we have this hold button, and then underneath that we have chord mode, we have octave up and down, we have the pitch slider, the modulation slider. We do have this little screen right here with what I would consider maybe a rotary encoder here that you can click down on. We have 8 knobs right here. These have a really nice feel. They're a little bit of a stiffer turn. They are plastic feeling, but they have a nice drag to them. We have 4 faders here. These feel really good. And it's kind of nice having a mix of knobs and faders depending on what you're doing in the computer with your DAW. They've got this little black stripe on the top. It doesn't really stick up much though, so it's not like it's going to give you a ton of grip there. We have 8 pads down on the bottom here. Again, these, I'm not sure from a usability standpoint. We'll have to check that out when we get in and talk about how to use these. The keys themselves, again, they feel really good. For a mini controller, I think this is the best I've felt. I don't know why I didn't try Arturia gear before this. So we also have the same wood ends that we have on the Mini Lab 2. Rubber feet on the bottom, and let's check out the back. So on the back, we have USB-C, which is going to power the unit. We have control, which would be like your sustain pedal, and then we have a full-size MIDI out port, so you could plug this in and actually control an external keyboard. Let's also check out the ports on the Mini Lab 2. We have the USB, which is going to be the power for this as well. A sustain pedal, no MIDI port. So let's talk about some differences between these two controllers. First off, from just a look perspective, if we tip these up on their ends, they have the same little wood sides, but the difference is the Mini Lab 2 says Arturia and the Mini Lab 3 just has their logo there. They have the same like rubber foot configuration on the bottom, so no difference there. The color itself, actually interesting, is the Mini Lab 2 is almost this, almost like old computers back when it was like Windows 95. And it was this almost beige-ish color. It's off-white, maybe, is what you'd call it. I'm stumbling around with my ability to find the color here. So what's interesting is the USB cable for the Mini Lab 2 is white, and the controller itself is kind of off-white. The Mini Lab 3, the controller is white, and the MIDI cable is off-white. I don't know why that is. It really has no bearing in the usage of the controllers, but the new Mini Lab 3 is a white surface rather than the off-white. I kind of like it. It feels a little cleaner. Obviously, the old one, USB, traditional USB. The new one is USB-C to connect, but it's still the same USB port that you would plug into your USB on your computer. So it's not USB-C to USB-C. I don't know why, but it's the USB-C to traditional USB. So then we have the differences with the ports is the addition of the MIDI out on the Mini Lab 3. I love this because I think it opens up even more possibilities for usage of the controller. So with the Mini Lab 3, you can actually plug this into, I could plug it into my Nord Stage 3 and I could play pad sounds on a layer while I'm playing the piano on something else. So it gives me the opportunity to use this on things other than just the computer. I'm able to use this to actually control external gear. Whereas with the Mini Lab 2, no external MIDI out, which means I can really only use this with a computer or maybe an iPad. So on the surface here, obviously from the key perspective, we have the same number of keys. The keys on the Mini Lab 2 They might feel just slightly shinier, but I think they're probably about the same bed. As I'm playing these together, they feel about the same. I want to say the Mini Lab 3 almost feels a touch lighter, but it could just be my perception. A few more little differences here. 8 knobs, 4 faders on the new Mini Lab 3. No faders on the Mini Lab 2, but 16 knobs. So if you're a fan of knobs and you love knobs, then Mini Lab 2 might be for you. But I prefer the knobs. They have a much better feel on the Mini Lab 3. And I like the faders because if you're in your DAW, you want to control a volume or something like that of your tracks. I like that as a fader. It's pretty cool. They are both 360 knobs, which is great. Same amount of pads. I think the pads on the Mini Lab 3 might have just slight bit more depth to them, a little bit more of a rubbery feel, which probably will lend itself to being better from a playability standpoint. Same sort of thing on the pitch and mod sliders. I don't really see any difference there. But what's interesting is on the Mini Lab 3, they've added the addition of chord mode and this little screen here. And you don't have that on the Mini Lab 2. So one of the big things that makes the Mini Lab 3 stand out from even other controllers out there, and maybe the exception would be the Native Instrument controllers because they take this same idea, but the Mini Lab 3 can control Arturia's software and integrates very nicely with the software using the screen and the knobs and faders work really well. And I'll get into that. I'll have some videos where I detail that and walk you step by step through that. So again, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those. We're going through that, but those are the main differences. The shape of the controllers, the Mini Lab 3 has these rounded corners here, whereas the Mini Lab 2 is more of square corners. So aesthetically, a little bit different, color, shape, a little bit different there. The weight of the Mini Lab 3 is lighter than the Mini Lab 2, and that might be what's making the Mini Lab 2 keys feel just a little bit tighter, is that added weight. I like that. I know it sounds weird because if you're throwing this in a backpack or something like that, maybe you prefer the Mini Lab 3. I think playability-wise, it's going to be about the same, but I'll be plugging the Mini Lab 3 in the next video and walking you through how to step-by-step set this up and use this on your computer, as well as checking out some of the instruments and stuff that come included with this controller. So be on the lookout for that video. If you've got any questions about these two controllers, throw those down in the comments below. Again, here's a little look-see at the controllers themselves. Let me know if you have any questions or what you'd like to see for videos on the Mini Lab 3. Again, I'm going to be doing a comparison between this, the MPK Mini Plus, and the Oxygen Pro Mini, so you have an idea of the current mini controllers out there, at least a few of them, which one might work best for you. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, stay inspired, and keep making that music.